Margaret E.M. Tolbert, Black analytical chemist. Throughout her career as a researcher and a manager, Margaret E. Mayo Tolbert has been intrigued both by how chemical reactions happen and by how her own actions can promote positive change. Inspired at an early age by such scientists such as George Washington Carver and Madame Curie, she has performed important research on the biochemistry of the liver and has assumed management positions at the U.S. Department of Energy and the National Science Foundation, as well as in private industry. Tolbert was born on November 24, 1943, to J. Clifton Mayo and Martha Ardis Mayo in Suffolk, Virginia. Her father, a World War II veteran, worked as a landscape gardener. Her mother was a domestic worker. The third of six children, Tolbert was still young when her parents separated, and shortly thereafter her mother died. For a short period the children were cared for by various neighbors and friends. Then they moved in with their paternal grandmother, Fannie Mae Johnson Mayo. As a teenager, Tolbert contributed to the family's income by working as a babysitter and a maid, but kept up with her studies well enough to be at the top of her class. When her father died and her grandmother became ill, the youngest of four children moved in with an older sister. Tolbert continued to work as a maid and became close with one of her employers, the Simon Cook family. The Cooks encouraged her to attend college possible schools and helped her research possible schools. Tolbert studied in chemistry at Tuskegee University in Tuskegee, Alabama, with a small scholarship from the school. By the time she graduated in 1967, she had served as a research assistant on a project to identify how various chemicals conduct electricity when placed in water and faced with different degrees of resistance. She had also completed summer internships at Central State College in Durham, North Carolina, and the Argonne National Laboratories in Illinois. She went on to Wayne State University in Detroit, Michigan to obtain her master's degree in analytical chemistry in just 1 year. For the next 3 years, she returned to Tuskegee, where she supervised the research projects she had worked on as an undergraduate and taught in the mathematics department. In 1970, Tolbert was recruited to join the doctoral program in chemistry at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island. Her research on biochemical reactions in liver cells was partially funded by a scholarship from the Southern Fellowship Fund. At the same time, she taught science and math to adults at the Opportunities Industrialization Center in Providence. She was awarded her doctoral degree in 1974, a year after she returned to Tuskegee University as assistant professor in chemistry. She continued her research on liver cells at the Carver Research Foundation Laboratories. She moved on to associate professor at the College of Pharmacy and Pharmaceutical Sciences at Florida A&M University in 1977. There, she was promoted twice over a 2-year period. The last promotion was to Associate Dean of the School of Pharmacy. In 1979, Tolbert spent 5 months in Brussels, Belgium, studying how different drugs are metabolized in rat liver cells at the International Institute of Cellular and Molecular Pathology. The effort was funded through a faculty scholarship provided by the National Institute of General Medical Sciences. She continued this research as a visiting associate professor at Brown University upon her return to the U.S. and published 2 reports on the biochemistry of the liver. Tuskegee beckoned again in 1979 and Tolbert returned for the final time to head the Carver Research Foundation. As director, she organized research in the agricultural, behavioral, and natural sciences, and she coordinated several domestic and international outreach programs. During her tenure, Tolbert was able to bring several large scientific research contracts to the university from the federal government, contracts which expanded the research capabilities of the entire school. Many of these contracts provided the opportunity for the university to develop vital connections with large federal laboratories such as Battelle, Oak Ridge, and the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. At Tuskegee, Tolbert had also served as the university's Associate Provost of Research and Development, and in this position, she traveled extensively to identify possible summer research opportunities for students. Through these travels, she was recruited to take a sabbatical at Standard Oil to develop science education programs when the company was sold to British Petroleum soon after. Through these travels, she was recruited to take a sabbatical at Standard Oil to develop science education programs. When the company was sold to British Petroleum soon after, she was asked to become the senior planner and senior budget and control analyst for the company's research center in Warrensville, Ohio. Tolbert remained with British Petroleum from 1987 to 1990. From 1990 to 1993, Tolbert directed the Research Improvement in Minority Institutions program for the National Science Foundation, which works to strengthen the infrastructure of research programs at minority colleges and universities. She coordinated the review of grant proposals from several topic areas, and her efforts paid off at several institutions. During part of her tenure at NSF, she also served as interim executive secretary of the Committee on Education and Training, a cooperative program established by the White House under the Federal Coordinating Council for Science, Engineering, and Technology. The committee coordinated the education and training programs of 16 federal agencies. In 1994, Tolbert spent 3 months as a consultant at the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, where she reviewed hundreds of proposals for international scientific research from Eastern European countries. In the same year, she joined the Argonne National Laboratories as director of its Division of Educational Programs. In this position, she used her previous experiences to coordinate educational and training research between the laboratory and universities, colleges, and other national and international organizations. 2 years later, Tolbert was appointed director of the New Brunswick Laboratory at Argonne National Laboratories. As a facility owned and operated by the U.S. Department of Energy, the New Brunswick Laboratory is the federal government's central authority for nuclear material measurement, evaluation, auditing, and validation. Tolbert oversees approximately 40 scientists who create and maintain reference materials for nuclear accountability and nuclear safeguards. They certify all other nuclear reference materials for the government. As only the third director in the laboratory's almost 50-year history, Tolbert believes her position allows her to help the entire country by enhancing nuclear security nationally as well as support international non-proliferation efforts. Tolbert continues creating educational opportunities at the laboratory to promote young adults to join the sciences. This includes sponsorship of the Boy Scout Explorer Science and Engineering Post at Argonne National Laboratories and the creation of an Explorer program for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts from local high schools. She also serves as a mentor to the student chosen annually to intern at Argonne, an experience she herself had in 1966 as an undergraduate. Tolbert was elected a Fellow in 1998 of the American Association for the Advancement of Science, and she is a member of Sigma Xi, the American Chemical Society, the Organization of Black Scientists, and the American Association of University Women. She organized the U.S. Department of Energy's Science Education Directors Council in 1994 and served as the council's chair from 1995 to 1996. She also served on the Advisory Committee for Training in Nuclear Power and Nuclear Safety of the International Atomic Energy Agency in Vienna, Austria, and she served as team leader for several duty tours in Liberia, Senegal, Ghana, South Africa, Libya, and Sudan. Tolbert has been divorced since 1978. She has one son, Lawson Quia Tolbert, and one grandchild. Citations are in the description.